Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would
even
you
your
please
screen.
bring
That's
in
beneath
order
even
of your
you.
committee?
Order.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a part
I'm
of it.
trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike
I
those
had no idea what
words.
you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You just voted to do
Y'all did
it.
it first, so you don't
just
talk
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down. Calm down.
No, because this
I
is
will
what
let you
y'all
get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying to get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Miss
games?
Crockett.
I can't hear you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
Calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk
Please calm
noise
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a
Mr.
problem.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chair.
I don't know why
Okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes
Not cute.
Ms. Greene for 4 minutes and 21 seconds.
I don't want us to base anything on Georgia at all. Please, Jesus, not Georgia. Okay, because Georgia purged 87,000.
Will the gentlewoman
That
yield?
should
I
not-
think
will
Georgia
not-
matters.
I will not yield. I am reclaiming my time. All right, so there were 87,000 people that were purged that were legitimate voters. So no, we don't want to copy off of Georgia. Also, another GOP voter admits he committed fraud. Another one in Pennsylvania, man who admits he voted for Trump with his dead mom's name because he listened to too much propaganda.
The gentlelady's time has expired. The gentlelady from the state of Georgia, Ms. Greene, is recognized for 5 minutes.
They want to talk about the Ukrainians got all of these Nazis.
It's amazing to me that just in a few years' time, it's now considered misinformation to talk about the Nazis in Ukraine.
Well, let me tell you something. You can find Nazis anywhere. You can find them right here in the United States. In fact, a bunch of the people that they're calling victims and prisoners of war, also known as convicted felons from January 6th. I have an article that I'd like to enter into the record by unanimous consent that says neo-Nazi January 6th rioter pleads guilty.
Without objection.
Thank you so much. So here's the point. We have people in this chamber that are actually causing just as much a threat, if not more of a threat, to our own country. We should be talking about holding our very own accountable for the misinformation and disinformation that they are spreading, whether it's coming out of China, whether it's coming out of Russia, or whoever is peddling it. It is a problem because right now what we see is that people are dying and we cannot get the support that we need from the public because they continue to peddle lies. And I'm tired of it because I didn't come to this chamber to play games. I came to this chamber to answer to the people, the American people, and to make sure that we keep the American people safe.
Gentlewoman, Ms. Crockett is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. First of all, I do want to clear up some actual misinformation. Dr. Snyder, when you were testifying earlier, you were actually responding to questions that were posed by another colleague from Texas. One of the questions was who was the president in 2008? And to be clear, Obama ran in 2008, but Obama did not swear in until 2009. So when my colleague asked about invasions from Russia, actually in 2008, Russia was invading Georgia, and it was another Texan that was the president at the time, and that was George Bush. In addition to that, one of the things that my colleague did not inquire about, but I want to make sure we're clear about, is that Trump was president in 2019 when he threatened to withhold aid to the Ukrainians as they were being threatened by the Russians. So I do want to make sure that we do that. You know, what is wild to me is that this word patriot seems to be getting co-opted for propagandists, because that's what they do. All right, so we're going to talk about what my colleague from Georgia, she talked about misinformation, and I don't know what she was talking about, but nevertheless, we can look at her own tweets and we can find plenty of misinformation, but we're just going to go through one specific tweet. Now, she said that we need to work with Israel to track down the serial numbers on any U.S. weapons used by Hamas against Israel. Dr. Snyder, I may be going out on a limb, but are you aware that that was actually just propaganda that was put out and there actually were not U.S. weapons that were being used by Hamas as she attempted to insinuate in this tweet?
I mean, first of all, I appreciate the clarification. I knew that the question, who were the American presidents, was going to be the toughest one I got from that side. So I appreciate your helping me out. Yes, I mean, obviously there what you have is a typical example of American-Russian messaging where the implicit idea is supposed to be we shouldn't give weapons to Ukraine because they're going to end up going somewhere else. There's no evidence for that. It's hard to think of an example where American weapons have been leveraged with such success as on the Ukrainian battlefield.
Thank you so much. In fact, for some people, especially people that serve on the committee, they may be surprised to know that it's actually a former Russian president and Putin's sidekick, Dmitry, and I don't want to slaughter his name, so I'm going to say Dmitry M., who actually she quote tweeted. See, the problem that we're having, and the reason that we're bringing up Russia as well, is because Russia is a threat as well as China. So we are not going to sit here and pretend as if it's only one or the other. But the biggest problem that we have is we have people that sit in this chamber and they spread the misinformation. If it was left in Russia or China, whatever. But the problem is that you have people that sit in positions of power and they have a $2 million budget. You think that they would call on some staff to find out if they were telling the truth about the things that they're putting on social media, but instead it works for their rhetoric. Right now, what we see is that people are dying and we cannot get the support that we need from the public because they continue to peddle lies. And I'm tired of it because I didn't come to this chamber to play games. I came to this chamber to answer to the people, the American people, and to make sure that we keep the American people safe. And if we don't get something done, as they talk about the border, I do want to be clear, the only reason we haven't gotten funding for the border is because they killed, the House Republicans here, killed the bill that they actually sent us from the Senate side. If they want to do some work, let me tell you something, the Democrats are ready, and it seems like the Senate Republicans are ready too. They just need to get to it and stop peddling Putin's lies. Thank you, and I yield.
Ms. Crockett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, the point of deciding that we need to release this audio is really simple from my analysis. This is an opportunity for your party to take an opportunity to try to mock the current president. I know a lot of people refer to the former president as president, but we have one president at a time, and that is Joe Biden. And seemingly, this type of attitude and position has come straight from the top. This idea of lacking all decorum, decency, has left the building when the stench of Donald Trump showed up. And so we've seen constantly from him how he mocks people. We've seen in this committee how different members want to mock other members. And that's all this is about. But what is so frustrating to me and what should be frustrating to the American people, and the reason that really all y'all should lose y'all's jobs, but why we are going to take the majority is simple. It's because we showed up ready to work earlier today, like we always do. And now it is currently 10 p.m. and we are still here because we are committed to doing the right thing. And my question is really simple. It's a matter of, if this was such a big deal, if it was a matter of an emergency, if this was so important as it relates to whether or not the President of the United States has done something so wrong, then why is it that we couldn't have our hearing at 11 o'clock this morning instead of members being in a criminal courthouse with a twice impeached, over 88 count indicted sexual abuser, instead of being here to do the work of the American people if this was serious? This is the reason that people don't believe that we are doing serious
Mr. Chairman,
work
point of order.
here.
I'd ask the,
State your point.
my point of order is this.
she just engaged in personalities about a former president, which
You can't engage in
just
personalities with a former
You've
president.
just
That is not the
reviewed the rules, and you know that it's true. If you were on the floor, you would be admonished. You know that.
the rules.
Mr. Chairman, I'll further say, if this happened on the floor, you would be admonished by the parliamentarians.
Your point is correct.
No, you made in this circumstance, you made an announcement, I believe, that points of order about insulting presidents or former presidents are not in order in this hearing because I take it you're going after Joe Biden, and so.
I gave it to him. I don't know where it is. Okay. All right.
I think you carved out an exception to that rule.
Okay, point of order overruled. Ms. Crockett, finish, please.
I'll yield the remainder of my time to
All right, thank you.
Would my friend yield to me?
Yes, I'll yield the remainder of my time.
I thank the gentlelady. You know, originally we have a motion, an ANS, to hold the Attorney General in contempt because he did not produce one item, an audio tape of the transcripts that were provided in full. And we decided apparently that that was what we were going to do because we're not sure about our chances in a court of law, which is really where this needs to be adjudicated. Now we have an amendment to the ANS taking cognizance of the development today in which the White House, not an unusual development and not always justified, invokes executive privilege. Now that is as old as the Republic. In fact, the first president to invoke executive privilege was George Washington, who did not want to provide documents regarding the Jay Treaty because it was controversial and might embarrass the White House. And we have had ups and downs with respect to executive privilege ever since. But the proper venue for adjudicating this is in a court of law. It isn't this committee. And so now this amendment to the amendment is essentially holding an attorney general in contempt because they're invoking executive privilege to protect information they choose not to provide the Congress. And I find that a very narrow basis, and I can understand why you don't want to have this adjudicated in a court of law, because I don't know that any judge would find that we have substantial reason to hold somebody in contempt for noncompliance. I thank the gentlelady for yielding.
You yield back.
I yield the remainder to the ranking member.
And I yield back to you, Ms. Crockett.
Then I yield.
Thank you.